Hey everybody, my name is the FONZ4 and I'm gonna watch a death battle today. Today we got Adam versus Ant-Man. Now for those of you who know, I'm a long time death battle fan. I think I've watched every single one of the episodes, even the early on episodes between Samus and Boba Fett, and Luke Skywalker and Harry Potter. So I've been around death battle, watched a lot of their videos, and seen their progression over the years, from Screw Attack to Death Battle channel officially. So, hey, I really enjoyed their 3D days back in the day, and I can't wait for this new season to get started. I do know about the Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer fight that was promoted, the Discord versus Bill Cipher matches, which I'm excited for those. Mainly the Alex Mercer versus Cole McGrath one because I'm a big fan of both of those games. And well, let's talk about this one, Ant-Man versus Adam from Marvel and DC Comics. Now, I do know a little bit about Ant-Man from the Death Battle cast. They will be using Hank Pym for this one, and the original Hank Kiner, I believe, and as the Atom. Now, as far as who would win, I do believe Ant-Man's going to win this fight. I because of some of the absurd things he's done in the comics, like he's grown so big, he's grown beyond the conception of big. I do believe he has a lot more in his arsenal, and he has more notable feats, and it will depend on if they do use the feats that Scott Lang does. What I mean by Scott Lang, it's in the comics, Scott Lang, the current Ant Man, has the ability to harness energy, the same energy that Wonder Man and many other characters to do OP crap. So if they give Ant Man that, Hank Pym, that because even though he's not Scott Lang, they could make an analogy that he possibly has those abilities as well, since they are his pen particles, then I do believe that Ant-Man will take this fight. I also think his army of ants too will also give him the crowd control and the aerial surveillance and give him the more control over the battlefield. But yeah, as far as which one of these characters I prefer, I see more of Ant-Man and more of his character development throughout the comics, even though he's on dark periods, but this will make the characters more interesting. So I do believe that if as long as there's probably some absurd feats about Adam in the DC comics since he's a DC character and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Adam wins and they bring up some crazy feat from the comics that I've never heard of. But I'm going with Ant-Man, and with that all being said, let's get into the video. Sorry with the advertisements.
Ant-Man, Marvel's founding member of the Avengers.
The Atom, DC's legendary
Back with
mighty
Death
mate.
Battle.
Good things
This
come
is
in
season
small
10.
packages.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
We're just
DC
trying to get
versus
these out of the
Marvel.
way.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and
Remember
skills
that
to
movie? I
find
remember
out who
watching
would
that
win
movie when I was a
death
kid.
battle.
Ants movie.
Did you know that ants can lift 50 times their
It
own
was on
body
Cartoon
weight?
Network.
That'd be like if you lifted a
Oh
car
my
straight
God, there
over
was
your
tons
head.
of reruns
I
of that.
did, thanks to my fun fact of the day calendar.
Oh, we're starting
Also,
with Ant-Man.
Pizza was invented in Canada yesterday.
Well, I bet your calendar didn't tell you that Dr. Henry Pym, aka Hank, was considered a genius at a very early age. By 3 years
What?
old,
Canada?
doctors declared that he was smarter than
Huh.
both his parents combined.
He
Yeah,
eventually
genius
majored in
intellect.
biochemistry and became one of the most successful scientists in his field. He had big ideas about
course.
shrinking the size of cargo to reduce shipping costs. Logistics.
Jesus.
All of which made him a laughing stock in the
That's
scientific
the
community
Avengers
and sparked
Academy.
a long-lasting insecurity and need to prove himself.
But
He
he
has
did
an
it. He
Avengers
developed
Academy.
a working serum. He went from laughing stock to Christmas stocking. The much better stock, right behind Bean and Live.
So,
Yep, the
naturally,
Pym
he tested the
particles.
serum on himself, like any self-respecting scientist would, and shrank down to the size of an ant.
And just when things started going
He tested it.
south,
Wait,
sweet little ant, let's call her
he tested
Aunt Hathaway,
himself.
swooped in
Why
and
do they
sent Hank
always
safely
do
back to
this?
his lab where he could return to full size.
Hank
Why
then
would you
harnessed the
just
serum
test it on
and became
yourself?
the
You can't get
superhero
some random homeless
Ant-Man.
person to do that
Along
for
with
you.
his new identity came a fascination in entomology, which makes total sense. Ants are fascinating.
The Ant-Man.
Did you know that
Hank
ants
Pym.
can talk to each other in a bunch of different ways? Through touch,
Yeah.
sound, or even sharing information by barfing at each other.
It's actually called trophallaxis. and
Yeah,
they're not
through sound.
perfect per
Yep.
se. It's more like passing food mouth
What?
to mouth.
Gross! Hank
Ugh.
figured out how to communicate with his new pets.
Ugh.
Not by barfing, but by creating a cybernetic
Oh.
that mirrors an ant's antenna. And he's even developed
That is sick.
relationships with some ants, like Ulysses S. Ant
Yeah.
here.
But he didn't stop there.
Sonic
Hank developed a
emitter.
lot of amazing tech like a stinger pistol that focuses his bioenergy into a stun beam, and image-inducing
Cybernetic
camouflage
helmet,
to mask himself as an
jetpack,
ant. It worked so
eraser
well it
tag,
fooled Reed Richards, the smartest guy
Camouflage
on the
laces.
planet.
He also built a suit that runs on that
Camouflage.
nifty serum he made back in his lab. It lets him shrink thanks to the newly
Full
discovered
Ultron
Pym
sensors.
particles, named after himself. Ah, classic Hank.
And the Pym particle is the key to unlocking the fundamental constants of the quantum mechanics at play here. They enable you to decrease the distance between atoms. However, in order to do that, he'd have to change the Bohr radius, the ratio of electron mass to the distance the electrons orbit an atom's nucleus.
Of course. Like how when you make a bagel
Jesus,
pizza,
there's a
you
lot of
can't
math.
fit the whole pizza on the bagel. Believe me, I've tried. It's too small. You just gotta put less on.
Sure, Boomstick. So the Pym particles are actually displacing
What?
mass to an alternate dimension in order to maintain
pizza.
that ratio.
Oh, it's like having a second bagel to put the rest of your pizza on. I get it.
But if
What?
that were true, he shouldn't be able to punch with full-size strength if he has less mass.
And he's definitely lighter, because otherwise he'd crush the sweet antsy rides like Vincent Van Gogh here.
Yeah.
His mass is being replaced with massless neutrinos, but that doesn't adequately explain how he can have less mass and seemingly more
Yes,
mass
true.
at the same time.
Sure it does, Wiz.
What?
Trust Pym and his particles. Look at the guy. He's explaining the whole thing while wearing a lab
What?
coat. What's more trustworthy than that?
What?
You're the exception.
Oh God, they're
think
doing
you
a whole
understand this?
math session on here.
He's small but strong. He said
They're doing a
something about
whole
force, so
math
I guess
thing
he
in this
wanted ham on
whole
that pizza, but I
bit.
already made the pizza.
Good
Will
God.
you take that coat off?
No.
They really went on the research on this
Regardless,
one.
there is virtually no limit to Hank's ability to shrink. He can go beyond subatomic down to the underspace, a plane of existence below all realities in the Marvel universe.
And Hank has literally changed his
Yeah,
biology.
underspace.
He's rewritten his own chemical makeup to prevent
Of
anyone
course.
else from changing his size. And he's used
God.
Pym particles so much, he's now got an energy field around him that lets him change the size
Whoa.
of people or objects
Oh.
on the fly, through touch or by straight up firing Pym particles in the air.
He's never shy about using them either.
Oh, he
eventually
can
supplied
manipulate
his wife,
others'
Janet Van Dyne, with some
shrinking
Pym tech to
ability.
become the Wasp, his partner in crime fighting.
The two
When
ended
other
up
people
rubbing shoulders with
shrinking.
A-listers like Thor, Iron Man, and the Hulk to take down Loki.
Ah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp were actually the ones that captured him and pitched
They,
the idea of forming
they
the
were the
Avengers.
original Avengers.
Unfortunately, Hank's insecurities started to creep back in, and he felt that if he wanted to keep up with the big heroes, he was going to have to think bigger.
Enter a bunch of those Pym-powered alter egos like Yellow Jacket and Giant Man, where he can grow anywhere
Oh.
from 12 feet tall to so big he can
Oh,
enter
boy.
the overspace.
I remember
the
Yellow
polar
Jacket.
opposite of the
That's
underspace.
super
There he
cool.
met Eternity, who called him Earth's scientist supreme.
The overspace.
Something he won't let you forget.
What?
Hank pushed himself
Oh
to these
yeah, I've
insane
seen
heights
this
even
comic
though
book
he
panel.
knew the strain on his body
The
could be
science
fatal.
is
But he simply
supreme.
didn't care and kept pushing himself. Thus, his greatest and worst creation was born. Ultron.
Yep, all the Tin Man Tron was created by Hank, not Tony like the movies.
Ult-
But the
oh,
mass
yeah.
robot thing turned out pretty much
Right.
the same. Big swing and a miss there.
The fallout from Ultron left Hank in a bad place, to say the least. His guilt made him feel like an utter failure, and that his best work was behind him.
Yeah.
This led Hank to do
If he
unspeakable
made-
things.
A real
Maybe.
low-life move. And even
Destroy.
though poor mental health doesn't excuse this behavior,
Yep.
it was clear that Hank
Yep.
needed help.
The
He suffered
abusive
multiple mental
use of life.
breakdowns, endured the physical toll of the Pym particles, and had bipolar disorder that went undiagnosed for years.
Yeah.
So Hank finally did the best thing he could. He acknowledged his problems, got the help he needed, and committed to self-improvement.
And with that help, Hank slowly started making things right. He rebuilt the
Yeah.
West Coast Avengers.
That was
Scott
good.
Lang his blessing to become the second Ant-Man.
Passed
And
down
finally
to
defeated Ultron.
He
Scott
created
Lang.
a backdoor Trojan infiltration code to defeat Ultron that was so advanced it went on to replicate and evolve all on its own to create a new species made up of artificial intelligence.
Dang.
They don't call him the god of modern AI for nothing. Hank has
They
showed
made
over and
an
over again
AI
that he's an
on top
integral
of the
part
AI?
Marvel universe.
Not just by
Jesus
ways of his
Christ.
scientific contributions or victories in battle, but by proving that heroes come in all shapes and sizes.
Ah.
This episode is
So yeah. Yeah, as expected, he grew so big he went outside the realm of size on both big scale and small scale. But yeah, so far, like what I expected, and he can prevent other people from shrinking or manipulating his size as well. This is good. Now it's time to see what Adam has to go through. Now it's probably gonna be some OP stuff with Adam as well. Well, like like the nucleus shields he's got on stuff. But yeah, they didn't mention the other abilities and stuff of Scott Lang and stuff, so I do think they are going to be incorporating it. Let's get this over ad too. And now that ad's
Ray
over, and let's
Palmer
get
was
into
born your
Ray Palmer.
average human-sized person. He grew up in the Northeast, studied physics at Ivy University, and did everything Mama and Papa Palmer told him to do. Probably.
Everything was pretty typical for Ray until one fateful night when he took a walk to take his mind
Ray
off a
Palmer.
frustrating experiment and saw a meteor fall from the
Yep,
sky.
saw a
He ran
meteor.
up to the crash and found himself a life-changing piece of a white
Now,
dwarf
as far
star.
as whose
And
origin
immediately
story,
started
in my
messing around
opinion,
with
is
it.
better,
Who wouldn't?
I think
He
Ant-Man's is a
discovered that
lot
he
more
could focus
interesting.
ultraviolet rays through it
First
and
of all,
shrink
he
inanimate
built
objects.
Pym
There was
particles
just one
himself.
problem. When he shrunk
While
things,
Ray
they
Palmer
exploded.
basically found a rock and
Every
he gave him
time.
these
I
powers.
do not see the problem. Sounds like he found a
So in
foolproof
terms of
way
who's a
blowing
better
stuff up.
scientist,
Case closed.
I gotta go give
Ray
it to
was
Hank Pym.
determined to figure out how to shrink objects without blowing them up. But first, he went on a hike with his nature club. And as a fellow scientist,
A hike
I
with,
have to
yeah, this
question
is
his
on the
priorities.
But
prequel.
hey, it seems to work for him.
Hey, you
I
gotta
support
get
it.
some time
Different
to
mics
rest,
for
you know?
Different mics, am I right?
While in a cave,
Need some
the
time to
ceiling
take a
suddenly
break from
collapsed,
all this
trapping
from
everyone
work.
inside. After searching high and low for another exit, Ray found a small opening and had an idea. He could try to shrink himself down and get help, even if it meant he might explode before he got the chance.
But he didn't explode. I hope this story has a happy ending at least.
Perplexed, Ray determined there
Well,
must
it
have
worked.
been something special about him that made him uniquely immune to the explosive fate. Something super scientifically convenient that we never get any more information on.
So he
So
created
it's just like,
himself a suit
yeah,
to
it's the
harness
reason
the
why.
power of the White
Don't
Dwarf
ask
star
questions.
And became the Atom.
Adam uses the white dwarf fragment to decrease his size while having control over his density, which makes a lot of sense considering that white dwarfs have the mass of a star, like the sun, but their volume is more like the Earth's, making them among the densest objects in space.
Just a teaspoon of the stuff could weigh up to 100 tons. That's one
Dang.
strong spoon.
When Adam shrinks and shifts his weight, he's actually sending his extra mass to a dimension called the mass zone.
Where, Adam
So they're
could
sending
maybe
it to
live
another
forever.
dimension?
At one point, Ray's apprentice, Ryan Choi,
What?
was murdered by Deathstroke, but willed some of his mass to the mass zone and was able to survive in that dimension. So these guys can
What?
potentially cheat death, but would be stuck there without any outside help.
But from one
What?
scientist to another, what's most impressive is Ray's creation of the Bio Belt. That's what allows Adam to use the power of the white dwarf and shrink while maintaining any weight, from immaterial to his full 180 pounds.
What?
There's even been times where it's stated that he was able to become almost as dense as a white dwarf star itself for a few seconds.
The belt is also how he can travel through
What?
phone lines or through the air on currents or light beams. Over time, Ray has spread out the white dwarf power to other parts of his suit, and now the bio belt acts as a utility belt for his shrunken weapons and tech. It also prevents his size or mass from being altered
his
by any
weapons.
outside forces.
And while he can only increase his size back to his natural 6 feet in height, his ability to shrink is near limitless. He can travel between subatomic space to the microverse, the foundation of all reality in the DC universe, where atoms become the size of planets.
Typically, he can increase back
Of
to his
course.
normal size with such force he can smash
Super
through
small
diamonds.
size.
So if Atom increases his size too much while still within the microverse, he could blow up the entire fabric of reality from the inside out.
Shrinking down to
What?
that size means that he can shrink small enough to rearrange atoms themselves.
Yep, Ray can take individual molecules and rapidly expand them to cook up a small nuclear blast in the palm of his hand. Oh, Ray Palmer!
That's
I just
crazy.
got that.
He also wants to disarm the
Oh my
bomb by
God.
rearranging its atoms. At that size, he can move
Oh
at the
my God.
velocity of light. So fast and so randomly, he basically acted as a
What?
barrier between any and all possible atom combinations. But come on, there's no scientific explanation here for him to have superhuman senses or awareness to comprehend being everywhere at the same time.
Makes total sense. If you're
Don't
small
matter.
enough, you can fit in almost
What?
everything, everywhere, all at once. Like how you can fit
But
an entire
not
pizza into a
the-
calzone, and then you have a whole pizza everywhere inside
What?
the calzone. Man, I get it. Science is pizza.
There's a lot of
No,
pizza
that's all I have.
references.
Why are you doing this to me?
On top of all of Ray's
There's
amazing
a lot of
inventions
pizza
and abilities,
references in here.
he's also got some more classic weapons, like a laser blaster and a freaking sword he
gun.
used to fight a giant crocodile. Relative to his size.
That was when Ray was believed to be dead, but was actually just stuck at 6 inches tall and stranded in the Amazon rainforest, where he encountered an alien race known as the Catarthans.
And get this,
What?
he ended up leading a rebellion against their tyrant king and became the ruler
What?
of all the Kardashians.
Of
Heroism didn't
course.
stop there.
What?
The Atom was a very well-respected hero, and was even asked to join the Justice League of America shortly after it was formed.
Of
He
course.
fought alongside
Not sure.
Batman and his best bud, Hawkman. And you don't fight with
Of
those
course.
guys without picking up a thing or
Alright.
two.
Impressive combat skills aside, Adam's
Gymnastic,
greatest contribution
a
to the
little bit of
legendary
judo.
team was always his incredible mind.
He once created kryptonite inside of Superman by realizing that if he gathered up enough Kryptonian protons, they would eventually become radioactive.
While stranded in
What?
limbo, Adam realized that if the Flash sped up the rate of a nuclear reaction's stellar evolution to exhaust its core, they could turn a fire demon into a black hole and use it as a wormhole to get back to
Oh, that's
Earth.
bullshit.
He's a brilliant,
that's
hard-working, and
bullshit.
determined scientist
That
that
doesn't
never
make any
stops
sense.
working on a problem until he's found a solution. I mean, if I figured out how to blow stuff up as well as he did,
He
I would've
used the
stopped
blowing
right
up
there.
ability
I'm the
as
hero
an
that
advantage.
blows stuff up. Wouldn't even need to change my name.
Ray Palmer lived the dream, going from research scientist to legendary superhero. He picked up the pieces presented to him and built something greater than the sum of its parts.
Who knew this tiny titan with massive brains would have just as much brawn to back it up?
Not seeing much research about him growing. Okay, we got a ad right here. Right here. So yeah. After that research, I still think Ant-Man's going to win. Because they talked more about his growing abilities too, and more. They did mention his mind too, but they're both astronomically smart. I do think Ant-Man's got a little bit more up his arsenal, and he has more physical feats too. He do than Adam though, and I think his weapons are ultimately are gonna take him to the victory though. And I think they both have their own abilities, but that exploding atoms thing could be a problem for Ant-Man. But yeah, I still think Ant-Man is going to win this fight. But I wouldn't be shocked if Adam's winner. And let's get into the death battle.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
And we're starting the battle. Ooh, 3D animation
Pick
on
on
the
someone your own
background
size,
has gotten better.
relatively speaking.
How did you do this? It's laced with a particle I've never seen before.
They're called Pym particles, and I'm Hank Pym, scientist supreme. You should have knocked.
Snuck into his car. Jesus. They just start the fight based off that? Jesus. Shouldn't have broken into his apartment. Those three, their background animation have gotten incredible.
Pieces of a white dwarf star? That's cute.
Everything we needed already existed. You just needed to be smart enough to put the pieces together. Scientist Supreme?
Their backgrounds have gotten so much better. It's like a whole
Did you know
3D
that
group.
at any given moment, there are about 2.5 million ants under your feet?
I mean, that makes sense, but why are you bringing that up right now?
And here comes a legion of ants. Ooh. Size him up. And he's getting jumped. He's got
Took you long enough. Okay, let's try this.
Can't manipulate his end with his size. Another one that can.
I'll hack his belt. You lay low and let me know what you find. Huh?
Nice try.
Ooh, grabbed him. You can also control.
If I search every electron path in his gun and study their probability wave
Ooh,
functions,
I like the way they're doing this.
might be able
Blow
to...
it up. The microverse. Ooh. Ooh. Oh boy. They're fighting in the microverse. Ooh. That dwarf star is going to be a problem for Ant-Man.
Happening. He must be reaching his limit. If we don't get out of here quick, he's gonna destroy all of reality. Now, my pets! You have your tricks and your
Up,
tools,
Ant-Man's gonna
but
lose.
I created something beyond the limits of human existence.
Oh, he's gonna lose.
I operate on a scale you
He's
can't
lost.
even-
He lost. He's talking trap. He's talking crap. He's talking crap. The outer space. With
You
it.
can't be afraid to think big.
What the hell? Oh, he's gonna. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! He just grew the ants inside his body! Oh my
Ant-Man and
god!
Adam both had many answers to each other's abilities. at
Ant-Man
first. Both were able to
wins!
store various weapons at a shrunken state. Both were trained in judo, and they both could obviously keep up with each other's
Oh my
ability to shrink at
god!
will.
Oh my
Small
god!
thing,
He
Adam
grew the
could
ants
answer
inside
to.
his body. That's fucked up.
Hank's bond with his pets led to him some small
Yeah,
advantages
the
that
ants
Hank
gave
didn't
him
have
the
enough
aerial
anti-ant
advantage and control of
tools in
the
his
battle.
bio-belt.
But in Adam's defense,
And he's got a
the fact that
belt.
he could punch with a fist packed with all of his mass meant that a close-up fight, while small, would leave Hank with few options since he can only punch with his normal human strength.
Even still, all Ant-Man would need to do is keep his
Yeah, he could just
distance
hack
with
into
the
the
help of his
belt.
insect confidence and devise another plan of ant-tack. Something Hank has no shortage of.
For instance, Ant-Man could alter Adam's size thanks to the PIM particle field he generates. Hank would just need to stall long enough to remove or disable Adam's biobelt, and he's had no trouble hacking enemy tech in the past.
But even with the bio belt busted, it wouldn't stop Adam's ability to shrink since the white dwarf power is contained throughout his suit. Destroying the belt only meant that Ant-Man could alter Adam's size.
Whereas Hank has literally rewritten his own biology to prevent outside size alteration. And while Adam's abilities are definitely impressive, they are limited, and Ant-Man simply aren't, at least by comparison. Hank could always match Ray's size or just take the fight to the overspace where he would have the edge, both physically and mentally.
That is
The
crazy.
overspace can mess with the human mind.
What?
We've seen that Hank can handle it.
But if the Scientist Supreme is really so smart, why didn't he just immediately go up Adam's butt and blow him up from the inside?
What's wrong with you, Wiz? Aren't you a fellow man of science?
This is the meanest thing you've ever done to me.
Adam sized up Ant-Man, but in the end, he was the one
Oh,
who
God.
had to say, Uncle.
The winner is
Yep.
Ant-Man.
Figured as much. Alright, Ant-Man. That's
Thanks
a win
watching.
for
Stay
Marvel.
tuned. We have a new Death Battle releasing
I know
every
people in
2
the comment
weeks this
section
year.
are talking
And
about
click the
this.
join button to get new perks and extra content. Planet level members even see Death Battles before anyone else, so don't miss out.
Next time. Us, the Dragonborn versus the Undead. Skyrim versus Dark Souls. Alright, it was a good death battle. As expected, I kind of expected that Ant-Man was gonna win, but yeah, I was expecting Adam to have some size abilities in this fight too, but he didn't. So yeah, with what Adam had in his arsenal, he had limited gadgets in his arsenal, and the fact that his powers derived from his belt, I was like, yeah, Ant-Man was just gonna hack into his suit and just disrupt it, easy peasy. So yeah, that was a very good death battle. Great way for them to start the season. Post your comments down below, like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks you guys for watching.